group of guys I got on. We're going to have a great show today. We got a Howard Stern lookalike on the Dave Darin Show. And we're going to talk to them in a second, but we're going to do the opening theme song to the Dave Darin Show that I know you guys never love to miss. So here we go. Stay tuned. We're going to be interviewing two bands today. We're going to be doing Jeff Patch with the band. Jeff, you're there, so give us the name of the band.
Free to Grow.
Free to Grow. And then we're also going to have, after that, we're going to have DuJuan Elliott. And you guys maybe have met him before with a previous show I did. He was a member of the Prince band. He was the vocalist, one of the background vocalists. And he's got a kick-ass solo career. And Free to Grow has a tremendous band, a tremendous energy. A lot of guys in the band. But let's do the opening theme to the Dave Darin Show that I know you guys never want to miss. So here we go. Welcome to the Dave Darin Show. And thanks, by the way, to Rock Solid Entertainment for putting this together for us each and every week. And here we go.
Do you know the Dave Darin Show?
Tall enough to boil a monkey's bum.
Most people say, who the fuck is Dave Darin?
Like Disneyland, I'm the happiest fucking guy on earth.
Who the fuck is Dave Darin?
Who the fuck is Dave Darin?
Are you a poofed up?
He used to be on terrestrial radio, but he got fired.
It's over. Don't you think it's over?
I'll spit.
Who the fuck is Dave Darin?
Here comes the bull fella now.
Dave Darin.
So welcome to the show. Jeff Patch is there, and Amanda, I believe, who's the front vocalist for the band, is there also. We're going to drag them over so we can see these guys. There they are. Handsome group of guys, don't we all think so? So, Jeff, welcome to the show. Tell us about the band, and then I'm going to ask you a lot of questions about the music, about the guys in the band, all of the people in the band. I know you even have an extra that appears there once in a while. So tell us about Free to Grow. How did you guys start? What's the meaning of Free to Grow? Tell us a little bit about that, a little teaser before we start getting into the deep conversation.
Well, the band started in 2014, and we started live performances and released the self-titled debut album then. We're from Fredericton area in New Brunswick in eastern Canada. That's not to be confused with New Brunswick, New Jersey, just so you know.
And that's funny because if you know this, I guess you did do research on me. You said I do great research with you guys. There's a monkey there. I spanked that monkey in my video, if you saw that. I spanked my own monkey.
We've got our own monkey. And look, the monkey wears a Free to Grow t-shirt.
And this is very unusual because Jeff is usually bending Amanda over and spanking her, so I appreciate that you didn't do that on the show.
Oh. Anyway, and who's this Howard Stern you say look like? I look like Dave Darin. I don't look like Howard Stern. Never heard of that guy. But Dave Darin. Hey.
There we go. That's cool.
Dave Darin Jr., by the way, and I just want you to say, Dave Darin Sr., that those emails and those meetings with those Russians, that never happened, okay?
Yeah, that was fake news, right? Fake news.
Yeah, fake news.
Yes.
Anyway, Free to Grow, we call ourselves a mix of folk and rock and progressive and East Coast and a classic rock blender. So that's how we term ourselves. And the name of the band is a reflection of how we are free to grow musically, that we don't want to be boxed in a certain genre, although I just list off a bunch of genres. But we play some stuff that's light acoustic ballady to some rock stuff that's really influenced by classic rock period.
Very
and
good.
when Jeff is joining the show and you didn't mention Amanda initially, boy, she was pissed off. Just pissed off. So.
You know, I got to tell you this, Free to Grow, I know you're lucky you can use that name because I did not patent that, because a long time ago, 26 years ago, to almost be precise, I got married. So on our honeymoon night, my wife looked over to me and she said, "Dave, you are free to grow." And I guess I just wasn't measuring up to the penis size she was expecting from a Dave Darin. So she said I was free to grow. So I did not patent that. So you guys are free to use the name Free to Grow. I acknowledge that you can use that musically. Just don't put it
Oh,
on.
thank you very much.
Just
Don't want to worry about copyright, and stuff like that. And we're free to grow with no Cialis required. I mean, you just listen to our music and babies will appear. They'll be born. Some of it is just, it just gets you in the mood.
Absolutely. And you know what?
She had a glass of wine. In the old days when we first started with the band, she was like this shy, demure person. And we'd say, belt out that vocal and put a few like sexy oohs in it. And she'd go, no. And then we just have a drink, Amanda. then do another take, and then it'd be awesome.
Wow.
But now there's no liquor required.
No liquor required any longer.
But do you drink a red wine or do you drink a white wine? I'm always curious about that. Red or white?
I like both, depending on the circumstances.
Oh,
Today it was white, but I probably prefer red.
Yeah, me too. I don't like white wine. I don't like white wine probably because I like wine room temperature. Now,
Yeah.
I guess if I put white wine at room temperature, maybe I would like it better, but who does that? No one ever drinks. You can't do that. No one does that.
I like a chilled white wine, so I'm the opposite of you guys.
Oh, how about that? So, by the way, one little thing, and then we're going to talk about who's in the band. I want you to tell us about all the members in the band. But one thing I got to tell you, I always ask the bands to be creative, especially in this day and age with their merch booth, for instance. So I'm thinking, when I was talking about Free to Grow, the way I used it when it was in my honeymoon, you guys can have a creative merch booth by having vibrators, and on the vibrator you put Free to Grow. I think that would work for you guys.
I think we should have free to grow luggage made from foreskins, and then when you rub it, it turns into a suitcase, from a wallet.
Well, look at that! What an imagination! You guys are you need your own radio person. You need your own show, right? So,
The free to grow show all the time, 24/7. Tune in, or you're gonna miss out on awesomeness.
Exactly right. Tell us who's in the band. I know there's a lot of you guys in the band. Tell us all of the members of the band, and make sure you tell us about the instruments that they play or the vocals that they do. So tell us all about the guys, including yourself too, of course, Jeff.
Well, I play guitar, but I also play different stringed instruments and a bit of flute, sometimes Irish flute and bamboo flute, and acoustic and electric guitars and bouzouki and mandolin on occasion. And Joe Bonnell, he's our guitar maestro. He plays most of our lead guitar, and he also does vocals too, as I do a bit. Amanda Moss, tell us about yourself, Amanda.
Yeah, tell us.
Talk for myself.
No.
I'm a vocalist, I'm one of the lead vocalists, and when I'm not playing singing lead, then I usually do some backup harmonies in the other songs. Other people are singing lead. And I also hand Jeff things when he needs to make instrument changes, so I'll hand him his flute or his pick when necessary.
Do you ever hand them the wrong instrument?
Yeah.
Do you ever hand them the wrong instrument? Because we always think about doctors and some of the fuck-ups with doctors where maybe they'll get handed the wrong scalpel or they'll cut something off that they shouldn't have cut off, right? Did you ever hand them the wrong instrument? Did you ever do that? Hand them the wrong instrument?
I've never handed him the wrong instrument, but sometimes maybe I'll hand him the flute backwards or the pick upside down, That's about as bad as it gets.
And for a vocalist, what she does is she helps with the breakdown at the end of a show.
I do.
Now, you've played in bands, haven't you, Dave? You have these vocalists, and they kind of come. They don't have gear. I've got to bring acoustic amp, electric amp, usually got a rack, as I say, to play different instruments, a couple guitars and different alternate tunings and acoustic, and then an electric guitar and a bouzouki and a mandolin. So I got this rack of stuff behind me, and it gets very confusing. Anyway, Amanda helps pack it up, knows how to put things away, and helps us break down, and that's amazing.
That is really cool. And by the way, Amanda, did you notice that when Jeff was talking about the females in the band, he said that there's a rack of stuff behind him. Did you notice he said that?
Yes, I noticed that.
Yeah. So you're talking about the rack beside me, though. Talking about behind me.
Now, Jeff and I talked earlier about one of the videos that I saw. But did you complete the enclave of everyone that's in the band? Did you talk about everybody?
No.
You missed some people,
There's
so
so many-
keep going.
Well, we mentioned Kathy before. Well, we mentioned all of them before in the promo, or in the teaser. So Catherine LeBlanc is one of the LeBlanc gang. So we've got 3 members of the band who are called, their last name is LeBlanc, but they're not closely related. And Catherine plays no instruments, but she sings, and she sings wonderfully. And she takes a lead role in our backup harmonies. And Catherine's been all over. You know, she was a model in Los Angeles. She lived in Western Canada, and like Amanda, she's done some musical theater stuff, which adds to their collective stage presence. Mm-hmm. So that's important. We've also got, besides Catherine LeBlanc on back vocals, we've got Cat LeBlanc, and that's not to be confused with Catherine. So we've got Cat with C-A-T LeBlanc, and she's joined us more recently to do more backup vocals. And she's also got a wonderful solo career. So if you look up Cat LeBlanc, she has recorded some songs that caught the attention of Jewel. And Jewel liked her stuff, and Kat was saying on her personal Twitter page, she went from, I don't know how many hundred or a couple thousand to over 20,000 Twitter followers. So that shows when you get somebody who's at a high level noticing you, it's a powerful thing. So we're privileged to have Kat as a part of our band. And we've also had Susan Thompson, who has moved to Ottawa recently. She's a scientist by day and a rock star by night. But she's going to perform with us in one of our upcoming gigs, and her back vocals are on our songs on our upcoming album and our previous album. So Susan Thompson. And then we also have Matthew Wong, who's from Toronto originally. And Matthew is our drummer. And Matthew is a young lad. He's in his 20s. He's just finishing off his school at the University of New Brunswick here. And he's a guy who's influenced by progressive rock. And we really like that because that's some of the stuff that we do, we like to think is influenced by progressive rock. So when some of the drums he adds have an extra dimension to them, and he's good with dynamics, which is important to us because of the variability in the songs we do. Larry LeBlanc, back to the LeBlanc gang, he plays bass with us, and he's an all-around awesome dude.
Mm-hmm.
and that's it, right? Finally,
So,
we get to the end? Did we get to the end?
That's her. Well, we also have Catherine Mulder.
Right, I didn't want you to
plays
miss her,
string-
right? She's the
And
extra.
she's and she's got a good solo career along with a couple other bands. And Catherine plays violin and fiddle and cello for us. And we also have as a guest guitarist Vaughn Evans, who played with us when we toured around the province last summer. And will probably play on a few tracks. He played on the Hipster track, the lead guitar break in the video there. He's seen there. And Vaughn is he used to live in Montreal for a number of years and worked as a professional musician. And he toured with Luba, who was a pop star who made it big, at least in Canada, in the late 80s, early 90s. And he also toured with a national touring act in Canada called Fear of Flying. So Vaughn is an amazing, he can sing, he can dance, he can do it all. But the thing he's best known for is playing amazing guitar.
Yeah.
So we loved it when he played with us, and we're looking forward to laying down some tracks with him again.
Wow.
So that's pretty well full gang, and I hope I haven't left anybody out because they'll...
I think you got everybody.
I think you must have gotten everybody. I'll tell you, about 2 weeks ago, I had on the producer, director, and actor of Star Trek Axanar. And at the end of it, I had to roll the credits of all the people that put together that, I think it was like, I think it cost them like $300,000 to put together Axanar. Prelude to Axanar was called. It's tremendous. And at the end of it, what I'm getting at is the credits for Axanar were quicker than the credits of the guys in your band. You got so many, it's incredible. So I'll tell you what we're going to do now. We're going to play a song because I want to make sure people know the music since we've already been talking like 12 minutes or something. So let's play. Should we play Free to Grow or actually also have Hipster? What do you recommend we start the show off with one of those two tracks? What should we do?
Hipster sounds like a good one to start with.
Let's do that one. Okay, cool. Tell us about Hipster before we air it.
We poke fun of them, but secretly we love hipsters. And Kathy makes an awesome cougar in this video.
She does. I noticed that. Absolutely. I did notice that. I don't tell her, but I watched that video a couple times in very awkward positions, grabbing things that I should not have. And I mean guitar. I don't mean anything else. So let's play that. This is Hipster on the Dave Darin Show, Free to Grow. We're rapping here with Amanda, and we're rapping with Howard Stern Jr. there. That is Jeff Patch. So here we go with the video. A tremendous piece of music, and here we go. As soon as I manipulate the screens with my dexterity that everyone's so familiar with. And
you say dexterity?
Dexterity, yes. Yes, that's what I was grabbing when I was watching Hipster. I was grabbing my dexterity. So here we go. This is Hipster on the Dave Darin Show. And check this out. Really great video. I love it. Here we go.
Hey, you. Come on over here. Is that your real hair? I like your jeans, but I love your plaid. You know, I know a place, a real cool place that we could hang out. 'Cause you look like you've been working out. And I want you to show me everything you've got.
Awesome tracks, guys. I love that track. I love the video too. That must have been fun to make. Was it fun to make?
It was fun to make.
Cool.
I like adding the cougar bell in the end too.
I heard that. I thought that was belching. I wasn't sure what that was. Because I know hipsters do the most inappropriate things sometimes. Let me make sure I got the video tuned in right now because we moved from the video. Now we're back to the gorgeous faces of you guys. So I got you guys tuned in now. So tell me about one thing you mentioned. Well, I just got a comment on the Facebook chat here. One of the guys, Rich says, nice work, nice job on that video, by the way. Music,
thank you.
I guess music included in video as well. I got someone else that just chatted with me, which doesn't pop up on the Facebook. And the guy must be a rock star or he must be in a metal band because he says, very inappropriate language. He said, how the fuck do you guys all fit on stage? That's what he says. I don't censor anything. That's what the guy said. How the fuck do you guys fit on stage with that many people, I guess he means, right?
Very carefully.
Well, you know, a lot of times on stage we have like a front five and two in the back with the drummer and bassist. And it's we fit on small stages and it can get tight. I always got to watch my guitar because I'm playing like this and I'm worried about bopping Amanda in the head.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Which Amanda plays only happened once.
Yeah.
But what happens when we're on a smaller stage is I just have less room to dance. So that's the main issue.
Now, I am curious about this. When you guys are writing your music, since there's so many of you in the band, usually when I interview bands, there's a couple predominant writers. Sometimes there's even just one predominant writer in a band of three. Now, you guys have 6 personalities. You have a 7th fit-in that plays the fiddle, and I think you got an 8th that fits in once in a while that you mentioned, who goes and plays some guitar work for you guys. So you have a lot of people there, a lot of contributing factors. Does everybody write, or does it come down to a couple people write, the other ones throw in their opinions and massage the product to come up with the end results? How does all that work? How does the manipulation of music take place?
The latter. Joe Bonnell and I are the primary writers, and we'll come with the framework with a song that we've brought our own lyrics to, and then the whole band contributes to massage it, and we may play it on stage for a year or two before we record it. And by then, all the vocalists and the other instrumentalists have added accents and flavors to it, and then it's a finished product. So it starts with maybe a couple of us being the primary writers, but it ends up as a product that everybody's put input into and helped massage to a final product.
Cool. Now, are you guys like perfection? Like you said, sometimes it takes you a year before you record it. Now, that's a long time. Now, you are getting everything ready. Does the piece of music change quite a bit? Do you change the piece of music that came out initially based upon the fans' feedback? Like they may say, man, I really love I love the hook. Can you extend the hook a little longer? I'm not talking about the people I usually pick up in the streets, which are called hookers, but I'm talking about the hook of your music. Do you change things around before you actually get to the recording? And does it change a lot from inception to finally the recorded product? And does that change come based upon your fans giving you feedback as well?
Talk about the Joe factor.
The Joe factor. Well, most of our change, I would say, comes from Joe, and it is the Joe factor. And Joe just has the muse sitting on his shoulder because we'll be getting ready for a gig, we'll be practicing 2 days before a gig, and Joe will say, you know, this needs this, and he'll come up with another little lick, or he'll extend the break, and it'll just be fantastic. And so, you know, it'll be difficult to learn it right before a gig, but it always adds so much to the song that we're like, well, we got to figure this out because it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we'll experiment with different stuff, and Joe is a master at arrangement, and so he influences a lot of songs. So a lot of the songs that I would call myself as a primary writer, because I wrote the lyrics and the chord progression, and even said I'd like to have a lead that goes this way. But Joe will add something to it, and often a lot of things. So now, as far as fans, we don't listen to that.
You know, but that is true. A lot of bands really do think that, you know, they write the music and they want to be true to who they are. rather than, and I don't think they would really say the words as a sellout if they do, but they want to stay kind of true to who they are. So I can actually respect that you guys write music and you entertain the fans and you hope that they like what you're doing. You got the following now that obviously does. So I can dig that. I understand that pretty well. That's a good thing to do. Did you ever write a song based upon, well, how do you write songs? Do you write them based upon fiction, or do you write them based upon what has happened in your lives? How do you write? Is it fabricated at all? Obviously we had, what was it, Kate on that first video where she was the cougar? Is she a cougar in real life? And that's not fictitious?
Yes.
That's true?
She's voracious. Absolutely. And she's going to regret very much that she couldn't come to this interview to set things straight on her behalf. So we're going to set it straight for her. Definitely. Oh, yeah.
Very cougar.
And as far as the lyrics, they're an amalgam of things, but they're based on some kind of perceived truth. Initially, they're not total fabrications. There's something in terms of observation or life experiences that influence what is written for lyric.
Amanda, I'm curious about this because earlier on we talked about having a little glass of wine you did before the interview, and I think we sort of mentioned a little bit that you might have been a little bit more inhibited. Has music and forming this band and the association with all the guys that are part of this great band, has this helped to open you up quite a bit? I would imagine it probably has, right?
Yeah, well, the longer I work with these guys, the more comfortable we are together, and it helps bring back my stage presence. I spent a large portion of time in a conservative religious group, and that sort of made me more strict in myself, but I have since left them, and now I'm back to my true self.
Okay, that's interesting. You aren't with Heaven's Gate, those guys that were looking at the Hal-Butt Comet, and they went off into space, so obviously you were not in that collective group of crazy folks, right? You were not in that one. Okay.
Not that one.
Not that one. And it's interesting that you're on the show right now, which a lot of people call me Satan, so that's kind of interesting as well. But tell me about the...
That's a Kool-Aid, Amanda.
So Jeff, I'm curious, when you're playing up on stage, now since you have so many of you guys on stage, do you guys primarily work to yourselves when you're on stage to try to get the vibe of each other and interwork with each other's personalities and feelings to create a stage presence? Or are you guys kind of looking into the audience to grab your energy and create that stage presence based upon the vibe of your fans? Because bands do it different ways. Some of them are really tightly connected with each other, and they mostly play off each other. And some of them are completely the opposite, where they play primarily to their fans, and that's where they draw all the energy of that particular one gig. How do you guys do it?
It's a good question. It's not really consciously trying to do one way or the other, but I would say that with a lot of us on the band, the focus can change. Like if Amanda's doing a lead vocal, we're looking at her. And so that the people who are projecting into the band will then put their focus on her, or if somebody's doing a lead thing. So that changes. And in that way, we're kind of playing to each other, but at the same time playing to the audience, if that makes sense in a twisted way.
Yeah.
I know personally, I take a lot of energy from the audience.
Yeah.
Like I really like performing in front of a group of people, so I like doing that, and that gives me a lot of my energy. But I also feel like when Jeff or Joe are going into a great big solo, I'm just soaking up that awesome mojo, and then I'm really into that, grooving on that. So it's a mix.
And sometimes you get these gigs where there's nobody there, but we ensure that we're having fun on stage. So and we've had this kind of compliment from people who come to a show well attended and say, "Boy, you guys really still showed a lot of energy on stage, even though it wasn't well attended." And it's because we get energy from each other, and that shows through when we perform. out and they're responsive, that means the next day I don't feel like a walking sack of shit. You know, you got energy from that, and it's great stuff.
Right. You know, I just got I had a question in my mind, and it looks like a fan came up with the same question that I did. Musicians that we see today, bands that we see today, compared to bands from before. We had Pat Benatar, we had Debbie Harry, a Blondie. We had a lot more females in rock bands in prior decades. It seems now, in fact, I can validate that because since I've done my show, I probably had on about 1,300 bands that I've interviewed, and very, very few of them have primarily none of them have female vocalists in the band. I don't know why, but it seems like there's not a whole lot of females in rock now. Do you find that's true? Do you find that you're an anomaly? Did you do it intentionally, or am I just not interviewing the right bands, or maybe a bunch of male-oriented bands come on my show just because of me? I don't know. What do you guys think? Are there more females in rock than I'm aware of?
Huh. I never really thought about it before. That's a good question.
Well, we live in this patriarchal society that's put on women for so long. Time for them to rise up and take over the rock world.
Yeah.
You can do it. You've got vaginas. You can do that kind of thing. You can take over. You can take the guys over easily. But seriously, I really find that's true. When I go out to a concert, I go out to a gig. Now, there's a lot of females in popular music, but there are not a lot of females that are in today's rock music or indie music or original. I don't hear that a lot. I don't get that a lot.
Well, for me, because I originally put the band together, and Amanda and I had worked before together, and Kathy and Susan in a previous band, and we liked each other's company and liked working together. And so with the Free the Grow project, with a lot of it was put together as a vehicle to record and perform music that I'd written, and I heard a female voice in the songs that I'd written. So it was important to have in the band a prominent female vocalist with backup vocalists, do harmonies. And so it was constructed in that sense, but it was more not from a marketing point of view as much as from a song point of view. The songs dictated that. And I thought it would be a lot of songs, or a few songs, more in the past about past relationships. So it's got a female vocalist, Amanda, singing my words in a lot of these cases, and they're about kind of another female. So that's kind of cool.
Okay, fair enough. I'm curious now, Oh, go ahead. I'm curious about this. We've already aired Hipster. We're going to air in a couple seconds. We're going to play Free to Grow, End of the World. That's the second song we're going to play next. And so there's a couple of videos out there. I know you guys are recording more music, and you mentioned that earlier in the interview, or maybe we talked about that in the teaser. But I'm curious, the new music that's coming out, is it important for you guys to connect videos to your music? Because I'll tell you something. When I used to do the pure music show in audio format only on terrestrial radio, and then I rolled off to online radio, it seems like videos have given my show a little bit extra edge, because people now, they want to see, they're used to, a long time ago, it used to be a telephone, you pick it up, you dial the numbers, you listen to the audio. It's not like that anymore. You talk to someone on the phone, it's always video. You want to see things happen. So is it important for you guys now to make sure that you guys are mixing video along with your audio musical product? And should it be important to a lot of people? Because a lot of bands want to make sure that their music is getting listened to. Is it important for music to be including video as well?
I think it's very important in this day and age to have a video presence, because we're a very visual society, and we need to have that there for people. You're not going to, especially there's so much noise out there, and you're never going to stand out from the crowd if you don't have a visual presence on YouTube or whatever. So I think it's really engaged. And I know for me personally, being a bit close to the younger generation, I'm a millennial, if you will, that whenever I listen to music, I always watch the videos along with it. I don't, so that I'm engaged both visually and auditorily.
Yeah, and if only we had the budget to do the kinds of things that are twisted things that are in our head.
Yeah.
So that's a constraint. But by the same token, we want to put out more videos because it was fun putting them together. It's a lot of work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So fun work.
But fun.
So Jeff and Amanda, what we're going to do is we're going to play the next song, which is called "End of the World." I'm going to say goodbye to you guys now, but what I want to do is give you guys an invite so that when you get your new music out there, and I know that you're working on it and you're going to work on some videos, make sure that you come back on the show and let's entertain the audience with the fresh new music that you guys are going to be working with. And I want to see more leg. I want to see Amanda's leg in the next video. We saw Kate's, right? I want to see Amanda's legs in the video. Okay, and as a teaser, here's my leg. I don't know if you guys can see it. Look at that sexy leg. So Amanda, you saw my leg. I want to see your legs next video. I don't want to see. Let me clarify. I do not want to see Jeff's legs. Okay, I do not want to see that.
Hey, mine are very sexy, and they're sexier than yours. And you got to start shaving, bud.
That's right. I will actually. When I go out tonight, I'm going out. I'm getting tired of women. I'm going to try to pick up some guys. So I'm going to shave the legs, strap some breast on, and I'll let you know how I do. Okay?
There you go.
Yeah.
Variety is the spice of life.
That's right. Absolutely. So this is Jeff Patch, Amanda, Free to Grow. This is the name of the band. How do they hook up with you? Twitter, Facebook, all different ways. Google your name, Free to Grow. I think it's Free to Grow Band, right, on Facebook.
Free to Grow Band on Twitter. Free to Grow is a band page on Facebook, and at Free to Grow Band with underscores in between is our Instagram.
Okay, cool.
So we're on all the major suspect list.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that make sure you guys hook up with those guys. Ask them questions. We asked a couple questions from some fans that I had dialing in. We had some other questions. I'll send you guys a list of the other questions some other people asked because we couldn't get to them on the show here. I want to play the track here. This is End of the World, which is the end of your section of the interview. Stay tuned because after this we're going to crank in DuJuan Elliott. You're going to love him. He's from the prior Prince band. And I guess at one point it was Prince and the Revolution, if I have my names right. I'm sure I do. Less drugs now than before, but I still remember some stuff. And then we're going to talk about DuJuan's tremendous career growth because he's got a lot of videos out there that are making things happen. So we're going to talk to him in a second.
One of them.
And you had a question for him, too. You want to know what it was like working with Prince. So I want to ask him what it was like working with Prince. That's one of your questions to DuJuan's. DuJuan. Okay, so guys, thanks so much for being on the show. I'm going to talk to you guys later. We're going to play the video, and thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
Cool, guys. See you later.
See ya.
Okay, so now that we are moving off to getting DuJuan on the show, in the meantime, like I said, we are going to play Free to Grow's End of the World. And here we go. Check this video out while we crank up our next interview. Here we go. Cool. Let's thank Free to Grow for being on the show. That was tremendous having them on. Now we're going to drag over DuJuan Elliott. How's it going, DuJuan?
What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Hey, great to see you. You got a New York City t-shirt on. I love it. You know I'm in New York now, so thanks for wearing my shirt.
Absolutely. Got to represent, bro. That's home.
Right, absolutely. Now we're going to introduce DuJuan as being one of the particular interesting guys. And now, like I mentioned in the first interview we did, if you guys missed the first interview, I had interviewed DuJuan before, probably about 3 or 4 months ago or so. And I did mention that DuJuan was a background vocalist with the Prince Band. And now I didn't want to dwell on that because obviously I want to make sure that the solo career and the happenings of DuJuan are the focus on the show. But Free to Grow, the previous band that was on the show, wanted to know what it was like working with Prince. Everyone wants to know what it's like working with Prince. Was it intimidating? Was it a perfectionist type of feeling? How did you feel? What's in your mind when you first meet Prince and he brings you in? How did he find you, by the way? What was the initial find of DuJuan?
He found us through a good friend, we call him family, Morris Hayes, which is his musical director for years. So Morris kind of brought us into the camp, and you know, that's how everything got started. You know, but before that, we was living in Houston, Texas. So
okay. So now you're with the Prince Band, and you're doing background vocals. At that point, were you with that band in the back of your mind? You were thinking, okay, here's my effort to get my career to expand, grow, work on my voice matching with Prince, and I can develop a great quality based upon being with Prince. Was it in the back of your mind that eventually you're going to start a solo career? Was that part of what's in your mind?
No, not at the time. It was more so just me and my brothers doing our thing, you know, just kind of like progressing our music career further, you know, hopefully after that, you know, recording our own project together, you know, and a couple of projects, and, you know, yeah. So at the time, it was just about, you know, just doing our thing, man, just being happy, you know.
Cool. Okay, so now the music that you've got going on now with your solo career, I was just adjusting the video so I get you centered there.
Cool.
The new music that you've got going on, would you call it, I'm going to tell you, I feel some pop in it, but not overwhelming with pop. I see you as, and you can tell me if I'm accurate with this, I see you more as a rhythm and blues and soul type of singer. Would you agree with that? Would you think that you're more drawn towards soul, rhythm and blues more than pop? Or what would you classify your music as if you wanted to classify it? And if you don't want to, then don't.
I don't know. I think it's kind of hard to classify, but I think that's what this album kind of called for. You know, was a little more soul, rhythm, and blues, if that's what you want to call it. You know, but with pop overtone to it. But I think it's just what the album just kind of like. I felt like doing at the time. You know, but there's definitely more levels to be explored for sure. Yeah.
Okay. So now what you've got now is I've got a couple songs from you. I've got the big one is New Age, New Day. That was when you first came on the show. I think you had a little bit of teaser stuff on that, and it wasn't ready for launch on the video presentation as it is now. So it looks really nice. And by the way, you've got a lot of great viewers on that too. So it's starting to really take off, right?
Thank you. Thanks to Luckstar Entertainment, man. My guys out of St. Louis, Fonzie and the crew, you know, they came here, and we had a blast, man. Shooting that video, it was really cool. Yeah, Luckstar Entertainment, awesome. Yeah.
So is it important to connect? Okay, so now you've got a solo career going on.
Yes.
You came out of being in Prince's band.
Yes.
How do you convert from where you were to being a solo performer? Do you have to get connected with the right folks? And I'm sure that's a stupid question. Obviously you do. How do you create that next step from Prince? Do you kind of have an association with the people that Prince was working with, and they kind of helped you go to your solo career? Or did you have to start brand new all over again from ground zero?
It was. I guess you could call it like a slight association with certain people from the whole Purple camp, but not a complete like association, these people that I'm working, my team that I'm working with now. But for the most part, it's more so outside of the purple camp. We're kind of like just kind of doing our own thing, you know.
Okay.
Yeah,
Actually,
sure.
I got a question here from one of the fans who's listening to the show right now. His name is John L. He doesn't give his full last name, and even if he did, I wouldn't give out his full last name because I don't feel like having controversy and more stalkers stalking me and hunting me down. But he asked me, he says, being in the Prince band, and sorry, it's another Prince question, but
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
being in the
It's fine.
Prince band, did you consider that a pinnacle in your career? And were you kind of thinking that, my God, I'm trying to read between the lines here, but he said, I'm thinking, he's asking the question, being in the Prince band, was that a pinnacle that you thought you would never eclipse?
You know what, dude? When we got with Prince at the time, we were kids. And when you're a kid, bro, for you, it's like the sky is not the limit. You know, you feel like once you've gotten there, you can launch from there to another level. So, and I think Prince respected that. I know for a fact he respected that because at the end of the day, he wanted us to go off and do our own things and be bigger than him. You know, he said it on several occasions. You guys could open for me. You guys could close with me. You know, we've had many conversations about that when he was alive. You know, but at the time, and I still feel the same way now. I feel like, you know, it was just a stopping point for me, and it's time to move forward and do bigger, greater things. You know, that's what it was about.
Yeah, and that's very cool for a guy that you mentioned, Prince being a perfectionist, to be
Yes.
surrounded with guys that he said, you guys can open for me, you guys can
Yes.
close for me, you guys can be bigger
Absolutely.
than me. He
Yeah.
obviously had confidence in the perfection that you guys brought to his whole career and his whole growth, and so he had complete confidence in you guys, which is really great to say, right?
Yeah, because he saw it in us, and not only that, but he saw how hungry we were for it. You know, we wasn't the type of cats that would just kind of hang out in the studio and just kind of like whatever. We were literally in the studio while he would work or doing his thing. We'd just be looking at him.
Yeah.
You know, just taking in everything. Just just building it. Just so that's what for us. It was just a learning experience. It really wasn't about the parties. It was about us just learning from him and just being sponges. You know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now tell me about the solo career. When you're writing music, you're obviously writing for your personal product, your solo career.
Right.
Are you the sole writer of your material? Do you have a co-writer that helps you? Is this all of your pieces of work?
This particular EP, I really wanted to collaborate with artists. I've always wanted to do that. Like from my past, we just didn't get I didn't get the luxury of doing that because everything was done in house, which is cool. But you know, like I said, it's cool to have some outside ears in to give you like a different flavor to open up on what you're doing. So I purposely wanted to bring other artists in on this particular EP to just bounce some ideas off of them. You know, to just see where their heads were and just kind of build from that. So I worked with some cool artists, Alan Z, Tani from San Antonio, Texas. It was really awesome to just work. It was liberating to work with other artists, you know, and I wouldn't change that for nothing in the world. It was just awesome.
Okay.
But yeah, that was definitely the purpose of this EP was to collaborate with other artists, for sure.
Okay, now the first track that we're going to play, we are going to open up with New Age, New Day. I'm curious, when you wrote that song, well, first of all, is that one that you did have collaborations with? That is?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Alan Z wrote the first verse, and he went off and did his thing. He was supposed to have written the second verse, but I was like, you know what? Let me do it. So shout out, and he had to do a show. I ended up didn't write anything down. Jumped on the microphone, and it just came to me. And that's my process. I hate writing things out because I'm not patient enough to do it that way.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah.
he wrote the first verse. I wrote the second verse. So that's
Okay. So now, when you wrote this song, first verse, second verse, and the hook and all that stuff, did you have in the back of your mind that you're going to convert this piece of music, this piece of audio, into a video? Because I've been asking bands recently about how important they feel video is, music videos are. So
Right,
did you have in the back of your mind that you're going to take New Age, New Day and make it a visual presentation along with the great music and the great lyrics as well?
After my team, at that moment. Once everything was finished, and I just shot it off to my team in DC, and I immediately got a call back, and Javon was just like, you know what, bro, these are the songs we got to do videos for, and I was like, yeah, bro, you're right. So it was like once it was all said and done, we knew New Age New Day was going to be the type of track and video had to be done for that record. Yeah.
Okay. How long does it take to do a video for a New Age New Day? Did it take 1 day, 3 days, a week? Did it take? Obviously, you might have had a storyboarded out from the initial conception of you thinking it's got to be a video, we got to do it, to the day that it's ready to be put out there on YouTube and available for sharing. How long was that period? How long a time period are we talking about?
You know what I liked about because my good friend Fonzie back in St. Louis of Luckstar Entertainment, he thinks like me, and I think that's very important. Like, if you see this guy work, he's literally like me in the recording. So he has this weird look about him. He's just trying to get it out. But I gave him a storyline of what I wanted. I told him, I was like, dude, I wanted this to kind of be like in an open space. I shot him like scenes of where I wanted to go with it. And he was just like, okay, cool. So within like a week, he came down. We shot it in maybe like 2 days. So
pretty
it was
quick.
cool.
So,
yeah, and he actually shot the video for Don't Wanna. You know, it's like the whole concept of that. It's like it was him. So it was just like, yeah. I gave him the idea. He just took it from there and just took it to a whole other level. So that's why I love Fonzie and Mike of Luckstar Entertainment. Love those guys.
Very cool. So they did some great work. So the reason I asked that question is I know that the artists that focus on audio product only and really don't worry about the video, or the most they put is like a lyric video, which is easier to do than obviously the photographic elements and video elements of the live performer or the live background. So I know a lot of the people that do the audio, they kind of worry about doing video because they think it's going to extract from their ability to write their music more quicker, because here they are now spending all this time and all this effort with video. But for you, it didn't really take that long.
Dude, I guess you can say I'm a sci-fi dude. I'm all about visuals. Like, I'm all about visuals. It's like the minute I'm finished with the record, I can almost see the video. It's crazy how it works. So it's like it's way less effort. I think shooting videos are much more fun than working in a recording studio.
Wow. Do you think you could? Do you think you could actually decide at one point to take your studio and start working with other people to get your idea of video for that piece of music and work with your team to develop? Because you already like collaborating in music. You like other writers to write with you. So I'd imagine from a video presentation, you might be as giving and as eager to work with other bands to produce video. And I know you have a studio already. What's the name of the studio?
Exit 74. Exit 76.
Is that one of the things you're thinking of doing with Exit 74? Is doing videos for other production companies as well, or other artists, bands? That is something you're interested in doing?
Absolutely, production, videos, all of it. Yeah, absolutely. So me and my team we definitely have that in the works for sure. So
very cool. Where are you guys located? Are you in New York? Are you outskirts of New York? Where are you located?
Oh, I'm originally from Nyack, New York. You heard of Nyack?
Yeah, I did. I forget where it is exactly. It sounds like it's from northern New York. I know you tricked me on this one before. I forget where it is. Where is it?
It's across the Tappan Zee Bridge, the Hudson River. Okay. You know, upstate New York, Rockland County, that area. But I'm back and forth between Nyack and Atlanta right now. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll tell you what. We've wrapped here a bit. I want to make sure we get to your music as quick as we can. So let's roll over to the piece of music. We have two of them to play today. We have New Age, New Day. We also have Don't Wanna Do. What's the name of the second one? Don't Wanna Do.
Don't Wanna.
Don't Wanna. Okay, I got it mixed up. Okay. Don't wanna do a fucked up show like me, right? So which of those two should we start off with? Do you want to do the tremendous track that you got out going, they're going, or do you want to warm up with Don't Wanna?
Let's do it.
Oh.
Let's
You got so excited there with the music. I know you got excited with the music. Or you got excited knowing that Dave said he fucks up shows a lot. So either one, what do we start off with? Don't use your hands this time. Which one?
Don't wanna.
Don't Wanna. Okay, so here we go. This is Don't Wanna on the Dave Darin Show, and then we're going to come back and we're going to rap a whole lot more with DuJuan Elliott on the Dave Darin Show. Let me do my very gentle sliding of video. DuJuan remembers I did this before so graciously. I still haven't perfected this yet, DuJuan. Can you believe that? I can't find the cursor now. I know how to curse. I can't find the cursor. Hang on.
It's up. Cool.
That is incredible. Okay, finally I found it.
Cool.
Must be the sunglasses. Okay.
Oh man, it's got to be the sunglasses.
It's got to be. So here we go. I found it, and I'm going to drag it over here. Press play, and let's check out this. It's a tremendous video too. So watch this, guys.
Don't even wanna
DuJuan, you look shocked there at the end when that hot-looking chick came up to you in the bedroom. Were you shocked? So we're back here with DuJuan. Let me make sure I close the video here, and we'll drag DuJuan back over. Okay, and DuJuan is still messing around with his video. By the way, we got a bunch of people here. You have a lot of female fans, it seems like. We got Amira says she loves your glasses. Now, Amira, if you're still looking in, what's the matter with mine? Come on now, look at my glasses. They're not that bad. I'm a cool-looking dude. I'm older than DuJuan, but I'm still cool, right? So tell me about that video and the association. Obviously, you were part of the vocals of that as well as another artist. Yeah. By the way, there's one of the things I got to respect is obviously your voice, the purity of it. There is no auto-tuning with your voice.
No, I didn't want it.
Yeah, what do you think about the guys that get away with auto-tuning their voices? Do you think that's something that should be, it should almost be like a penalty, and you should not, if you're a manager of that artist, you should disregard them because it's not a real voice. It's a fake voice, isn't it?
Right. I think it's a trend, and you know what happens with trends. They usually kind of fade away. So I mean, to be honest with you, I kind of like it. I think it's really cool. I have nothing against it. If it's like, if you're using it as an effect, that's cool. But if you're using it because you really can't sing, then, but it's a trend. I try to not follow trends. I kind of like to, dabble in and dabble out, do whatever. But, it's what it is what it is, But I just didn't want to use it. I didn't want to use it on this record, I just wanted people to hear my natural voice.
Yeah.
And to me, wanted the same thing,
Yeah, and it is interesting. You're right, because I think I even mentioned this in the first interview we did. I noticed that some vocalists use it as an effect. Obviously, for guitars, you have effect pedals. You've got effects you can run through a keyboard. They have all the effects. You can get a trumpet sound if you want. I noticed a lot of vocalists use it as a pure effect. I noticed that as well. You're right.
Right. So hopefully, like I say, on my next EP, I may use a little bit. I'll use a little bit more as an effect, But I mean, I love it. I think it's cool. But if you overuse it, if you wear it out, then come on. Jay-Z had problems with it. Death of DOA, death of auto-tune. Remember?
Yeah.
I mean, R&B had gotten to the point to where they just overdid it. It was horrible. But thank God they kind of eased up off of it. And now, people are starting to sing again. So, yeah.
What's been going on in your life since our last interview? And I monitored your YouTube of these videos, and now they're exploding. How did that happen? Is it a product of just collaboration with the right people? Have you used like electronic social media in a better way than I've used it? Because your videos are exploding, and a lot of people are looking at it and they're saying, "Man, this guy's number one. He's got a great product, which also helps it to explode." But how did you make your YouTube start to really multiply like this and explode? What's the formula, if you don't mind sharing it? What did you do?
Well, for one, it's about just being true to yourself, and I think a lot of people are so caught up in being trendy until they lose sight of their identity. There's nothing there for people to actually really feed off of. It's just a lot of this music today sounds good, but there is no meat to it. There's no meat and potatoes to it. So I think that's the first approach, is that I just came out and I was just being me. I was just doing DuJuan. I wasn't trying to do 1985. I wasn't trying to do 1995. I wasn't trying to do 2000. I was just doing DuJuan. That's the first part of it. The second part of it is my crazy, amazing team.
Yeah.
They are relentless. They are something else. They're awesome. So I think it's a combination of both of those. Them, especially my team being so persistent. Because we have something we work like we have chips on our shoulders. So I guess you could say my team is an extension of me.
Yeah. So a good work ethic is always very important, especially in today's attempts to make music a path that people can follow for their main gig. It's obviously a work ethic that you've got to work at every single day. Every day, right? You lose one day, you lose. You lose in that one day. The key word is you lose.
Dave, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say it again because I really think you need to put this on repeat. My team works with a chip on their shoulder.
Good point. Excellent point. I'm curious about this. Now, you are a vocalist. I believe you teach vocals as well, don't you? I think you're a vocal coach and teacher as well.
Yeah. I've got a couple students. They're awesome. They're amazing. They're very persistent. They'll call me at 8 o'clock in the morning. DuJuan, what should I do? So they're kind of all over the place. But I like it. It's just an extension of my talent, lending to other people to help other people pursue their passions and all that. That's one of my number one things. I wish that all of us would just follow our passions, follow our gifts, and I think this world will be a better place if everybody just followed their passions.
Wow. Really, really true. I'm curious about this. Now, I know, DuJuan, I've seen you in all these videos. Instrumentation at all. Do you play an instrument to make your music happen? Do you when you're writing the music and you're collaborating, do you sit there with a piano? Do you sit there with a guitar and try to make the melodies of your voice match any notes on an instrument, or are you primarily vocals and that's the way you write?
You know what? These days it could be everything. It could be just from pulling sample loops in. It could be just me playing keyboard melodies. It could be just me tracking drums, just like putting in drums. It just it comes from everywhere. Inspiration comes from everywhere. But I can tell you this: the main key to my whole thing is just melody. It's melody. If the melody's there, bro, you can build around it and just make it whatever you want. So I think that's what it's really about. It's just the melody.
Cool. And DuJuan is having that Italian minute where the hands are moving around, right? I do that too. I do that too.
This is the third time.
It's good to have hands that move quickly when you're in a masturbation. It's great. But when you're doing a video, when you're doing some interview with me, stop with the hand motions, okay? So let me ask you this. Some bands that come on my show, they've got a guitar player who does vocals. Yeah. Eventually, that guitar player thinks who does the vocals and is the front vocals of the band. I've had some of them come on and they say, you know what? Recently, we hired a guitar player. I want to be the guy on the mic. I want to be the guy rapping with the fans. I want to be the guy front and center. I want to drop the instrument. Do you think that some of the players today should really think about focusing on one instrument? And if their instrument is the voice, maybe that guitar player, who's also the lead vocalist, should just decide, I'm the front guy. Let me delegate that guitar work. Let me grab the mic, be mobile, move around, and give a stage performance. Do you think that's something you might say?
I think a lot of artists use their guitar once they perfected it and they sing with it. They've gotten so comfortable with it until it gets to a point to where they kind of feel like they can't go up and do lead vocals without having their guitar on. And when I think it's kind of like something that they hide behind because they feel uncomfortable if they did take it off and hand it to the guy so he can do it. And then I think a lot of artists lack that confidence with that, which is one of the reasons why I really appreciated Prince, because it wasn't like that at all, But yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of artists should just delegate the task to some dope musicians, go up front and just tear it up, Have fun with it. Because you can really interact with the crowd even more when your hands are free.
Yeah,
I totally get it.
I agree with that. 100% I do agree with that. What's coming up next for you now? Obviously, you've got these pieces of music out there. They're doing really well. Is your next goal now to be, like I know some bands, what they do is they write the music, they lay it down on a product so it can be at a merch booth, but they're gigging with that product to launch the sale of that product. Now, some of them, what they'll do is they'll go on stage and they'll start immediately. Or some of them will even take off being on stage and just get into the studio and start writing their next music. So they'll kind of neglect the stage, which kind of is not, maybe it's not the smartest business approach, because then you're neglecting your merchandise. What's your formula, since you've got the team behind you? Right. And then we're giving out some secrets here. If you don't want to answer that and you want everyone to figure it out, that's I don't know. What do you think?
You know what? I prefer to. I'm not the type of guy that, I guess, for the most part, I can be one thing at a time. But when it comes to this, I prefer to just be on the road touring and still recording records while I'm on the road. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
For me, it's like, I think inspiration really hits me harder when I'm on the road touring, and I have my equipment right there because it's a mobile rig. I can literally take this on the bus. I can put it on a plane and just be at the hotels, like just tracking away. So for me, I think it's even more so. I'm excited about that, knowing that I'm getting ready to do a couple shows in D.C., Baltimore, Maryland, and I'll be able to take my gear with me and just be inspired even more to come out with doper records.
Cool. Okay. I do have a couple questions here that just came through my chat. One of the questions is, when you write your music, what is the most emotional part of yourself that you put into music? In other words, I'm assuming that her question is, this is Kathy, by the way, is her name.
Hi, Kathy.
I would imagine she's asking if you write from an emotion of sadness. Do you write from an emotion of excitement? I guess she's asking what she is asking. What emotion do you write best with?
You know what? For a long time, my music was so dark. It was amazing. I think, and it was just like, I don't know, maybe just music, everything just in me and was trying to come out. And once I put myself in a situation, I was just a good situation to where I could create. It was just a lot of dark music. But here within like the last 5 years, it's been kind of balanced. I've kind of figured out how to challenge my emotions now, my spirit to, if I want to do something happy, I can actually do something happy on the fly. If I want to do something that's kind of dark, I can just do it on the fly. So, I kind of create from both ends equally now. So I love it all. Yeah.
Okay, and another question here we have, what's her name? Celeste. That's kind of cool. I don't know anyone named Celeste, but Celeste.
Hi, Celeste.
She is asking, let me see if I can read it and paraphrase it, because it's a big long paragraph here. Okay, just in general, I guess she's asking, have you learned more now being on your own as a solo performer versus when you were with the Prince Band? Where have you learned your most, where the most lessons come from, I guess is the summary.
You know what? I'm going to have to say Prince, to be honest with you, because everything was so intense at all times. Everything, it was intense from like just, if it was just rehearsals, recording, it was a constant level of intense. So I'm sitting there like this sponge soaking it all in. I would definitely have to say the Prince era for sure. And to be honest with you, I can't wait for this whole thing that me and my team are doing to just really kick off full steam, because mentally it's going to put me back in that place. That's where I'm trying to get back to, that mentality of everything being so intense, because for me, having that intensity makes me come out with doper records, dude. It's just, yeah, cool. Absolutely.
So you like a life led on the fast pace. You need the excitement.
I need the excitement. I need that consistency of it. I don't like the high intervals and then you get this low peak for a while. High intervals. No, it's got to be up here. On constant. That's how my mind works.
I like that. I like that approach too. I try to live my life on that high peak as well.
Yes.
And it takes a lot out of you, but it takes a lot out of you. But the funny thing is, you learn how to recharge quicker.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I did notice that. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm used to it. That's what I'm really used to. Like, I can get antsy. So, 90% of the time, dude, I'm around this computer. If I'm not performing, I'm here, recording, tracking. So for me, I'm like you. I'm antsy. I gotta have It's gotta be consistent. It's gotta be. Once I get up, dude, I get up like at 9 o'clock in the morning. First thing I do is shoot out. I can't be here. I have to shoot out. Go grab a cup of tea, something, get my brain rolling, and then come right back here and start creating. So it's this continuous loop on a daily basis. So
Wow. How often do you have ideas in your mind for music?
Every day.
All the time, right?
All the time. It's just like, you can't shut it off. Nor do I want to, but I literally can't shut it off. I remember, like I said, Body Catcher on the EP, like I was literally in the shower, just lathered up in soap. And the melody came to me, and dude, I didn't even rinse off. I just jumped out of the shower, wrapped the towel around me, and came right in here and just laid down the melody. And then once I was in like 10 minutes of that, I went right back to the shower, finished up, And we had to go out to dinner that night. But when I got back, later on that night, I created Body Catcher. You know, so melodies could hit me at any time. Like I said, I can't do an EP if I don't have melodies on it.
Now, here's a question I'm sure Celeste, who's probably still listening, has, but she didn't have the nerve to type it. I'm sure I'm reading her mind. I have some ESP here. Let me put a hand up to my head here. Okay, I'm tuned into Celeste. She is asking, DuJuan, can you please describe why you're in the shower, why your hands are reaching over your body parts? Explain that to us. What's the image like? Well, I knew Celeste would ask that, but she wouldn't. She said hot. She typed in HA.
Celeste, that's a good one. That's a good one.
So very cool. So I'll tell you what's coming on next with you? Are you like really, you're in the studio every single day? These musical ideas are in your head all the time. What are you going to do tomorrow? What are you going to do next month? What's coming up for your fans? And for me to have you on again and plan it out for like a month or 2 months from now. When's the next milestone where I got to have you back on the show? What's coming up?
Dude, we got, I'm headed to DC on the 1st of August. We have a couple of festival shows to do out there. So teaming up with my really cool band out in DC, Capitol Hill, called Hybrid. So look out for that. But yeah, so headed back to DC to do rehearsals with the band, get them locked into what's going on with the DuJuan Elliott record thing. And we're about to do a couple of festival shows. It's called the Summerfest in DC. So I'm looking forward to that. We're finally, getting to a place where we're on good stages to where the people can actually see me, hear me, feel me, and touch me.
Awesome.
So I'm excited about that.
All things Celeste wants to do, by the way. I tuned into her. So you are a tremendous artist to have on. I love having you on the show. And by the way, I've seen you're on some other shows too. So when you get on those shows, make sure you tell them you've got to be at least half as good as Dave Darin for me to get on your show. Please tell them that, because I know I'm raising that bar up for all those other people, right?
Dave,
I'm raising that bar.
You have set the bar, buddy. You have set the bar, man.
Because of my intensity level as well and my work ethic, just like you've got, Dwayne. DuJuan, sorry, DuJuan, not Dwayne.
It's all good, dude.
Always, one time a show, I'm going to screw up that, of course. Right?
God, bro, you're so intense. You got my camera like falling all off the thing, bro. So, which is cool. I love it.
That's
cool.
Love it. So I'll tell you what, we're going to play that tremendous track where you're going to end the show here with New Age, New Day. Tell us a little bit about it. Just give us maybe, you told us about where it was filmed. You told us about how long it took to do it. What was the first thing in your head? The first, you said all the time you're thinking of stuff in your head. What was the first thing that came into your head to develop that song?
First, it was the chord melody. It was just like, I was like, oh, this is really cool. It's like kind of popish, so to speak. But after everything got tracked, it's like the only thing I could think about was just literally New Age. I think a lot of my records that I create, I like title them like the titles that I make so I can remember to bring them back up when I'm working on them like another day. I will title them and then like blase, 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 so I can remember it, just so I can put. But this one, I literally titled it New Age, New Day, not really thinking about it. And then when I came back in like a week later and started writing to it,